How's it going, folks? Recording another best ball video here in the Best Ball Mania 3. Got a few topics to talk about. Looks like we're at pick number 5. That's pretty cool. Hopefully we'll get a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson share, but we'll be fine with a Christian McCaffrey share as well. Or Cup or Taylor. Whoever is there at 5, I will be quite pleased with getting. So, first topic of conversation is Week 17. Now that we have the NHL, can tell where my mind is tonight with my Pittsburgh Penguins playing Game 7, with the NFL schedule being released. We can now actually take a look at Week 17, which, is the big tournament championship week for our Best Ball Mania 3 tournament. So, Spike Week has a nice fantasy football playoff cheat sheet available on their page, and I'm mostly focusing on Week 17. I mean, obviously, I do care some about the previous weeks because you need to advance these weeks first before you get to Week 17, but this is the week that's worth $2 million, so this is going to be, a huge focus of mine. So a few things with that is, you want to try to game stack some when you're building your team for Week 17, like get players on both sides of matchups. Obviously, there's some matchups that are much better than others, and you would like to have more of your portfolio involve players in those matchups. So that's a thing to keep in mind. We've drafted Justin Jefferson with our first pick. So just a little side note to keep in our head is they play Green Bay Week 17. Now, you don't want to focus on oh my God, I've drafted Justin Jefferson first. I have to get Green Bay players. That's a little bit too soon. You can kind of let these things come to you a bit more, especially since, Green Bay doesn't have a ton of super high picks. But for example, we could look to maybe add Aaron Jones to Justin Jefferson, but he'd probably have to be there available in round 3 for me to want to do that. But we'll take a look at how things fall. But it's just generally you want to keep in mind that you want to game stack Week 17 games somewhat. And there's a few people I'm actually focusing on for, Week 17. One being there's an Arizona-Atlanta matchup. And, we know James Conner has had his health problems over the years. So I'm really focusing on getting a lot of Keontae Ingram, as I think he'll be the main backup to Connor. Obviously, they could still sign someone like Daryl Williams, who's somebody they actually brought in back in March and took a look at. So Daryl Williams is kind of a guy I have hidden away in my mind as a round 18 guy because he doesn't even get drafted in some drafts. And I think that's a little crazy because, dude had 1,000 total yards last year. And when you're looking at teams that are still interested in a running back, we have Arizona and the Saints as 2 of them, where he could make a big impact on either one of those teams. Being the backup to Connor or being the backup to Alvin Kamara. Also, there's of course a chance that Kamara will be suspended for 6 games. Another thing I noticed is probably worth talking about is that Deshaun Watson, it appears that Las Vegas is kind of setting the odds as if they don't think he'll be suspended. And I find that a little strange. So I say that because the Browns are the Vegas favorite to win their division. And that obviously wouldn't be the case if they thought Deshaun Watson was getting suspended for a lot of games. So I think that's worth note. Could take a Tyreek Hill share here. I'm really not taking much of him. I could go ahead and grab Aaron Jones. I'm just going to take Tyreek because I haven't taken him at all in this tournament. So that's cool with me. I'll start with those 2. Maybe I'll try to set up Waddle in round 3. I know a lot of people are don't really like having 2 elite wide receiver, guys that you have to pay a ton of draft capital on. For example, Chase and Higgins or Tyreek and Waddle on the same team. I don't mind doing it, but I'm not going to do it a lot. I'm not going to draft Tyreek and every single time I draft Tyreek be oh my God, I have to get Waddle in round 3 now. But I do want some exposure to that in my portfolio. Last year we saw that you really needed Chase and you really also needed Higgins in the tournament weeks because they ping ponged, and so if you had Burrow with both, one could get you through 1 week, one could get you to the championship the other week. So just something to keep in mind there. So 2 players I'm currently focused on are Aaron Jones and Waddle. So I'm going to take one of those 2. I'm either going to take Aaron Jones to lean towards the game 17 game stack with the Vikings, or Waddle to set up the Miami stack. I'm going to take Aaron Jones here, like I said, because I want to focus a lot on like the game 17 game stacks if I can. So, like I said, we didn't want to like go overly crazy about this and grab Aaron Jones in round 2. Like that would have been too expensive to be making that move. I like Aaron Jones just generally as a pick too. And keep in mind for this week 17, if you have, a couple Justin Jefferson, Aaron Joneses, you don't need to like focus on this and doing it all the time, right? Because you're gonna want other ones. So like you're gonna want to still be able to have Justin Jefferson and AJ Dillon on some teams in case that's the way things fall. So like you want these game 17 game stacks, and you want to pick them up where they make sense. So like say Aaron Jones had gotten taken before that pick, fine, I take Waddle. I keep in my mind I'd like to get AJ Dillon later if I can, or some of the Green Bay pass catchers and whatnot. But you don't want to get like too crazy about it. Also, we have bye weeks now, and like I think with the regular season $1 million champion, bye weeks matter to me. Not much more than usual, but like a little bit more. Like I'm probably going to try to keep two running backs at the same bye week and 3 wide receivers. I generally won't be drafting 2 quarterbacks or 2 tight ends with the same bye week, but there is one exception. It's something I've already done. I'm probably only going to do it the one time I already did it. But it was something I thought of when I was looking at the rankings and how guys got drafted. And it really came out of me checking out the Cleveland odds and being like, wow, Vegas doesn't seem to think Deshaun Watson's getting suspended. So if you go over and look at quarterbacks, we got our Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. And you got down here at Lance and Watson. I think Lance and Watson are obviously, if Lance gets the starting job and if Watson doesn't get suspended, those to me are the 2 most undervalued quarterbacks for what their ceilings can be. And they're both by week 9. So I wanted to draft a team. Plus, they're super close together, back to back in ADP. So I don't think hardly any teams will own both Lance and Watson. 1, because of how close they are in ADP. 2, because they share a bye week. So I wanted to make sure I got one team in the Best Ball Mania 3 that actually had both of them on it and a third quarterback, because I think people also won't really want to draft third quarterbacks on teams like that have 2 really strong quarterbacks, which I generally wouldn't either. But I wanted to in this one case. So I ended up with both of them. Here we are looking at the tight ends interest me quite a bit. Hollywood interests me. Another thing worth keeping in mind for Arizona is they play Atlanta week 17, but they have a little bit of a rough road to get there. Oh, that sucked. I really, really wanted Hollywood there. I guess we should take one of the tight ends. I've been taking like a lot of George Kittle, so I'm just gonna take Waller. I've been kind of loading up on Lance stacks while Lance is cheap, so like I keep getting Kittle. Like I said, like the last team I drafted Lance, I didn't draft Kittle on purpose because I have already a bunch of Lance Kittle teams, so I went with Lance and I went with Lance, Ayuk, and Debo. And another thing I like with Lance and other quarterbacks is I don't mind taking, like, I generally keep it to 2 pass catchers for the quarterback, but I don't mind adding a third if the third is like a round 18 guy. So I don't mind like having Danny Gray be like the third guy I've got to go with Lance and a round 18 guy, or Azukama if I'm going with Tua or something like that. On the team where I drafted Watson and Lance together. The third quarterback I drafted was Mac Jones, and I drafted Thornton as his third pass catcher because I already had Jacoby Myers and Hunter Henry, but Thornton was available super late. I don't like loading up on like 3 pass catchers for a quarterback if you're paying any sort of high price for them, but I don't mind it once you're starting to talk about like how cheap they're getting. Jerry Judy had the arrest there. It sounds like it's a misdemeanor, so I'm really like not gonna get like too crazy about worrying about that. Obviously, there's someone we hope falls here. So keep in mind you've got your bye weeks here, so this is something to like keep an eye on. I probably just pointed at something you can't see, so sorry about that. But I was pointing at my screen to where the bye weeks are, which you obviously can't see. So we're going to take Breece Hall here. Be really excited about it. I have an insane amount of exposure to Breece Hall. I think the Jets' playoff schedule is batshit crazy, amazing. Some people have been not that impressed by their schedule. I think I understand what the person was talking about, but let's go take a look. We got Jets. We have Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle. If you were to dream up a schedule, we don't know how these defenses will play out, obviously. We could be completely wrong. Sure. But I mean, we have to make this decision now. And this is the information we have. So I think all 3 of these are pretty damn good looking matchups, especially Seattle. I mean, their defense could be real bad this year. Got Detroit and Jacksonville. So I love Jets players for this tournament. And Breece Hall in particular. Because I'm going to be drafting so much Breece Hall, and I'm like at like 30. I was at 33% Breece Hall before this draft. So I'm definitely getting after it with the Breece Hall shares. I'm going to really focus on getting some Michael Carter too, because like say Breece Hall's hurt down the stretch, and that's completely effed me, and I'm overexposed. Well, at least the teams I have that have Michael Carter can greatly benefit from that, especially since Michael Carter has been plummeting down the ranks. He stayed kind of up in the territory where like I really still didn't want him before, but now the combination of the schedule just happened to time up with him actually falling a lot more. Now I'm super interested. So as far as the bring back, so I'm mini stacking the Jets a lot, right? When I was back, I can't even talk right now. Going back to where I said other people weren't as excited about the Jets playoff schedule as me, meaning that they weren't like super excited about having the Jets as a main game stack for week 17 or even the other weeks, because the Jets offense just like might not even be that good, and Zach Wilson or whatever. And I understand that. I am more excited about the Jets as a secondary stack, and in particular in combination with one other player, which I'll get to after I make my pick. I'm going to keep my eye on what we got going on here. Whew, Jalen Hurts still available. There we go. So I'm looking kind of at like Cousins and Tua, Derek Carr as some stacking options. Darnell Mooney is a guy I like don't ever draft. I don't like hate it getting a share here where he's like actually at the top of the ADP. I'll do that. So I like to mini stack the Jets a lot, and I think the perfect bring back in the Jets mini stacks is Noah Fant. Noah Fant's absurd right now to me. I don't understand why he's as cheap as he is. It doesn't make any sense to me. So going into last year when we were doing these drafts, he was on average the tight end 7 off the board and went in round 8 or 9. This was with the Broncos, where we knew his quarterback was going to be Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. Albert O was coming back from a torn ACL, but we knew at some point in the season Albert O could kind of be a problem, right? We knew Albert O could pop up and be a problem for us. Sorry, I'm having a couple other thoughts at the moment. So I've done like a big Justin Jefferson Thielen Cousins stack. So I might kind of look to maybe have an Irv Smith involved this time. So yeah, Noah Fant was going to have Teddy Bridgewater and Locke last year. He was still going as like tight end 7 off the board in the 8-9 range. And we knew Albert O could be back at some point, though he was dealing with coming back from a pretty decent injury and a torn ACL. So he wasn't like the most threatening guy, but there was some threat of him coming back at some point and being annoying. And concentrate on this next pick. Then I'll get back into that. Ooh, Thielen goes before us. Could take Devonta Smith. I don't hate that. Don't love the running backs. Could take Renfro to go with Waller. Gonna take Devonta Smith on this team. That's cool. So this year, what has changed with Noah Fant? Like, instead of Locke or Bridgewater, it's Locke or Geno Smith. Not that different to me. And now Albert O is fucking out of the picture entirely. So I don't understand why Noah Fant's going at like tight end like 20, 21. It's absurd. Doesn't make any sense to me. So I love him as the comeback in the mini game stacks for the Jets. I think Noah Fant should be ranked like 10 spots ahead of where he is at tight end. I'd like easily take him over Mike Gesicki every time. So the one annoying thing about Thielen going the pick before us is, I guess, there's KJ Osborne available. Just that we already have Waller, so I tend to like kind of want to wait on tight end like super late, but I don't know. We'll see how things fall. So yeah, to me, Noah Fant like is just an insane value because of ADP, and I don't understand it at all. People got like super excited about Noah Fant because they thought Aaron Rodgers, was going to go to Denver and ended up being Russell Wilson instead. But everyone thought that Albert O would get traded in the trade for the quarterback when it was actually Noah Fant. So everyone was like ready to throw Noah Fant to the moon when he got this upgraded quarterback in either Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. But like, his situation didn't get worse. It just stayed the same. So like, I understand not wanting to move him up. And like, with him being tight end 12, it really wasn't baked into his price that much. Like, that he was getting this quarterback upgrade. So I don't know. Here I have my eye on Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Chris Olave go. Oh, sorry. Wow, Hunter Renfro is still there. What is available at quarterback? Huh. Oh, that sucked. So I'm still really excited to take Garrett Wilson here. I think Garrett Wilson's an elite prospect. I think his ADP is too low. I love his playoff schedule, obviously, as he is a Jet as well. The only thing is, like, I probably will now. Well, I mean, there's not too many other Jets anyway, but I probably just like won't target any other Jets now that I have Hall and Garrett Wilson. I think I'm probably going to wait around on quarterback. I don't really want to take Kirk Cousins as high, and so far the only stack piece we have with Kirk Cousins is Justin Jefferson. So if we like don't get Kirk Cousins, it's not that big a deal anyway. We could go with like Zach Wilson, who we have Garrett Wilson. We could go with Fields, who we have Mooney. We go with Tua. We have Tyreek. If Carr were to somehow fall back, we have Waller to go with him, but I don't really like, not super interested in Carr anyway. So bye weeks for wide receivers, we have 2 week 7 guys. I guess that's like something of note, but not a big deal. Could definitely add a third wide receiver with that bye week, but that would probably be where we would want to stop. We're going to take Kenneth Walker here. Ooh, I love to get Chris Olave as well, but I think Kenneth Walker just has too much upside to start. This is a tough one. I'm so all right. I want to take Olave this time and see how things go for us. Just because like he doesn't really fall a ton behind ADP, opens up a kind of backdoor stack option with Winston. I feel pretty comfortable with Aaron Jones and Breece Hall, and then kind of finding our way at running back a little bit later. Thing is, like now we have like 6 wide receivers we feel pretty good about by around 10. So this will be a 7 wide receiver team. Pretty sure. So this could be like a 3-6-7-2 build, something like that. That seems like the best build that we could build with this. We have Waller, so we really only need one other tight end. And I think we only need 7 wide receivers with this build. So we can definitely go 6 running backs and 3 quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are really, really not going off. So one of the things that I've really gained from reading some of Hayden Winks's data, and he's one of the guys for Underdog, is like you really gotta like be careful about having too many wide receivers when you draft a bunch of wide receivers earlier. Like if you have 6 wide receivers by round 10, you shouldn't be drafting more than 8, and like you probably should be drafting 7 or 8. It's 2 players on the board that I'm super interested in. So I'm either going to take Kirk Cousins or Kadarius Toney with my pick. Okay, I'll just take Cousins here. Kind of hoping one of Tua or Justin Fields makes it back to me. Then we probably need to start hammering some running backs. I think it's quite possible that taking Kenneth Walker over Chris Olave would have been good. Just haven't seen Olave fall at all, so I haven't been getting any of them, where I've been getting plenty of Kenneth Walker. So that was kind of my change my mind there. See, people are like really down on Justin Fields because the fucking Bears didn't do anything for him. Didn't add any weapons. Their wide receiver group is a shit show. The only thing I'd say with this is keep in mind that Justin Fields has 5 fantasy points per game last year with just his legs alone. So he can definitely be good still for fantasy. So what am I going to be looking at if I kick the can to draft another? Yeah, pretty comfortable. There's a lot of guys I want later at running back, so probably will add another quarterback to this room, but I don't have to. So we could maybe squeeze an 8th wide receiver that way by not taking a 3rd quarterback. So at tight end, we have outs for Cole Kmet or Irv Smith to be our 2nd tight end to go with Waller, since both of them correlate with our quarterbacks. I don't mind KJ Osborne either. I feel pretty fine just sticking with Fields and Cousins at quarterback, but kind of depend on what we have available at other positions on if we do that or not. Liking this team. Gonna have to figure some things out at running back, but there's one running back I really like for week 17 that still on the board. We'll see if he makes it to us. Algiers' playoff schedule is horrendous. He's still on the board. I like Isaiah Spiller. There's 200 touches available in the Chargers backfield just from the other running backs between Jackson and Roundtree and Kelly and all those guys. So Spiller has massive contingent upside if something were to happen to Eckler, but he's also just a fine pick on his own. I would be kind of bummed if both Ronald Jones and Spiller go off. I'd probably go down to Algier there. I think we're going to pass on having the Tua Tyreek. That's kind of annoying. I do like Isaiah Spiller over Algier. I think he just has way more upside. I know that Algier is the starter and Spiller is going to be a timeshare guy with contingent upside, but I would rather have the contingent upside of him than what Algier is going to offer. So I'll take Isaiah Spiller here. So when you look at Algier's playoffs, it's New Orleans, Cleveland, Arizona. Eek. Not crossing them off my board or anything, but I have Spiller higher of the two. Be interesting to see if he's still available when we pick again. There's actually somebody else I'd rather be taking still down here on this board. That's Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell is might not get Smith or Kmet if we don't take one of them this time. It's going to be a tough decision I have to make at this next pick. Irv goes before our pick. Ooh, Kmet goes before our pick, so I guess that makes things easier in a way. So I was going to consider taking one of them over a player I wanted to take more. So now it's like Algier is still here. Do we take the season-long upside of all those touches? Yeah. Really want to take Kenneth Gainwell. I'm going to take the Algier, much for the reason that I took Olave. It's just been a lot harder to get him than it is Gainwell. I can get Gainwell like every single draft, it feels like, if that's what I want to do. So since we got closed out on those tight ends, I don't know. Might look to just grab Noah Fant with our next pick. KJ Osborne goes. There's wide receivers we can pair with Fields late and Pringle or Velus Jones. So we can keep our mind open for those guys. Still some chance, I guess, Will Fuller would end up there, but I like Njoku quite a bit too, but he seems to always go before Noah Fant, so I just never get him. I don't mind taking Njoku over Fant when they're both on the board, but it just doesn't really seem to be the way things fall. The other thing we could do is we could end up with 7 wide receivers and 3 tight ends. I think people get like just way too crazed on wide receivers in this. Like any guy that scores, from our study that we did on the points above replacement and seeing where replacement level is each week. Week 1 it was at like 9.8 points, and then the lowest it was during last season was at 7.0 points. Like anyone that can score a fucking touchdown can get in your lineup. So, and I don't even think the upsides of some of these tight ends are like really taken into account. I see people building like 2 tight end teams all the time, but like the person they're taking in like round 18 or whatever is like Byron Pringle instead of somebody like Austin Hooper. Do those guys really have that much different of a ceiling? Don't really think so. Alec Pierce and Fuller stand out as like values to me on the board. Then obviously Noah Fant. So we end up with a lot of like mini correlations as far as week 17 go, but not big correlations. Ugh, this is going to be disgusting when I get sniped here. So because we kicked the can so far down on tight ends, I mean, we might end up having to go 3 tight ends even though we have Darren Waller. That's unfortunate. That was just a ranching. There are not words to describe when you get fucking sniped that hard. Really thought the dream of Kenneth Gainwell coming back was going to happen. Oof. It's really bad. Really, really bad. I think I know who I'm going to save my last 2 picks for. Don't want to leave you talking to yourself. So we got Logan Thomas and Gerald Everett and Taysom Hill still as like options for tight end. One thing we do want to do is keep in mind, like, we want someone that's not by week 6, but that doesn't seem to be a problem. We do have 3 by week 14 wide receivers, but I think that's fine. If we were to take another wide receiver, we definitely wouldn't want it to be that weak. So here we're between Gerald Everett and Taysom Hill. I have like a lot of Taysom Hill already, so I'm going to take Gerald Everett. I do think we can just hang 2 tight ends if we want. That's fine. I don't love that our 3 bye weeks that are the same bye week are bye week 14, the closer week right before the playoffs. It's kind of annoying, but I don't know. I just felt Alec Pierce was like a lot better than the other options that we had with that pick. So I have 2 running backs in mind to take as my last 2 picks. So I'm probably not going to take a running back till then. Obviously, I would have if that hard sniping wouldn't have worked. If Tyrion Davis Price makes it to us here, I might take him because he's a guy I really haven't taken much of that I love his upside. Khalil Herbert's still got like really good upside, but I definitely don't want a 3rd week 14 bye week guy when I'm only going to have 6 running backs. So I'm either looking at Tyrion Davis Price or punting down to the last 2 rounds for running back. I think the only way I would consider a tight end is if Taysom Hill were still there. He still has like some sort of contingent upside that he plays some quarterback this year. Taysom Hill's gone. This draft has kind of went a little tough for us, but what can you do? So do we want to stick at 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends or 2 tight ends? The answer is not clear. That was kind of a big pick for us. Oh my god, this guy is just incinerating us. Well, gonna take Wandell here because I really, really like Wandell, and yeah, I fucking hate everything that's on the board. So that's our 8th wide receiver. So we're definitely going to close that off. We only have 2 picks left to make, and gonna make them both at running back. I'm just gonna stick with Cousins and Fields and Waller and Everett. So I would say our stacking on this team is pretty weak. We did get Cousins, Aaron Jones, and Justin Jefferson for that Week 17 game stack, but overall, I would say this is a poorly stacked team. Let's see if we get destroyed on one of our last 2 picks here. Oh my god, this draft is unreal. This draft is unreal. We just got destroyed again. What is happening? Huh. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, we can go with Devonta Foreman and hope to gosh that McCaffrey goes down, that he can realize some of his contingent value. This draft went bad. Guess I could have passed Wandell over there and taken Keontae Ingram around early. Whew. This draft went bad. This is a tough one. don't love our tight end situation. I mean, Waller and Everett should be fine. It's not bad. Cousins and Fields, like, it wouldn't hurt to have a third QB in the mix, but our wide receivers are pretty awesome. Got the hammer down with 4 rookies. I think I would definitely like this team better if I would have just taken Kenneth Walker over like the rest of these snipings. Like, I'm not really sure where we could have went different. Like, if there was a chance we could get Kenneth Gainwell the next round, which there obviously was, and we definitely should have taken Algier over him. So I don't really regret that. Just regret the fact that it worked out to be 1 pick before us. Oof. I like that I got a Mooney and Fields because I have a few Fields and none of them are with Mooney. They're all like with Komet and some with Velus Jones and some with Pringle because I just don't ever take Mooney. There is a specific player I want with my final pick. And there's a chance we could benefit from getting wrecked on our Keontae Ingram pick. Interesting enough, we could take Eno Benjamin to kind of see how things go that way. But I don't know. I just don't believe in Eno Benjamin at all. Sonny Michel, people are just still not taking, even though like he signed with Miami. I kind of get it because I have so much like earlier Sonny Michel. I'm not really interested myself. All right, we're going to finish it off with Daryl Williams with 1,000 total yards last year and hope that he signs with, like the Saints. Or, like I was saying, we could be benefited by getting sniped on Keontae Ingram because if Daryl Williams were to end up on Arizona, that could be pretty sweet. So, all in all, things did not go well that draft. But I don't hate this team or anything. It's just fine. So we had Cousins, Fields, Aaron Jones, Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, Tyler Algier, Donta Foreman, Daryl Williams. Wide receiver we end up with. So quarterback, this is like a B minus to me. Running back room, just like a solid B. I really like this top of Aaron Jones and Hall. I don't mind Spiller. Algier's fine-ish. How would I feel about this if I had Gainwell instead of Algier? Kind of the same, to be honest. Foreman's got the contingent upside if something were happening to CMC, we think. Obviously we don't know for sure exactly what the roles would break down with that. But I'm pretty sure Donta Foreman would be the guy. Daryl Williams I really like as a last round pick. So yeah, B for our running backs. Tight end, you can really only give a B. I mean, it's nice that you got one of the top guys, but we only have 2, and the secondary guy is so. And then our wide receiver group, I would give an A. Got Justin Jefferson, Tyreek, Mooney, Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Alec Pearson, Wan'Dale Robinson, just a ton of upside there. I love the rookies. So all in all, not a bad draft, but man, were there some snipings. So hope you guys enjoyed watching me get sniped, and good luck in your drafts.